Alpha rule number 3. Always follow God. But you know the thing is, most people can't find him. They're looking in the wrong place. They're getting up every Sunday, going to a building, thinking that's where you got to go. Well, let me ask you this. If God is keeping you alive, why are you alive every other day except Sunday then? You should be not functioning the other 6 days, right? Or are you telling me you go and get rejuvenated, you get recharged on that one day, and that recharge you for the rest of the week, and not the rest of the week you godly, but you got to go. You running out of godliness, so you got to go back. No, brother, because every single religion has its own building. They've got the church, they've got the mosque, they've got the outdoor altar, they've got the field, they've got the altar with stairs, the altar with no stairs. They've got that is not where God is. That is where the priests are. God is in you. God is in me. And we cannot continue to live our lives in a way that is causing us to not be able to function properly as spiritual men. Notice I did say spiritual, not religious.
Tell us the truth.
You see how we don't claim any religious sector, any religious cult? We don't. Because this life is not about religion. It is about godliness. Is it about spiritual astuteness? It is about being the man you're supposed to be so you can receive the blessings that God has for you, but not any old version of you, not the old version of you that was all out there in the world running around, not the version of you that can't control himself, not the version of you that can't contain himself, not the version of you that's unfair, that takes advantage of the childless and the widow, of the fatherless and widow, not that one, the spiritually astute version of you, the spiritually enlightened version of you. So why are so many people looking outside of themselves for what is inside of them? It's like looking in your refrigerator for your clothes. Have you ever gone into your refrigerator and said, hey, who took my shirt out of the drawer with the salad? Who took my socks out of the drawer with the apples? Who took my cologne out of the carton with the egg whites? You're never going to say that, because in every other facet of life, you look for everything where you know it is. God is the only thing you look for in a place that he is not. And you've been led to lead. God is everywhere. Yeah, he is, because people are everywhere and God is in people. That doesn't mean that when you look down at the river, there's nobody down there. God is down there sitting by the river. See, here's what you got to understand. God created the earth. The earth can function without him constantly overseeing it 24/7. He don't have to make the rivers flow every day. There is a system in place. When the polar caps melt, when the mountains melt, the rivers run, feeding into the oceans. It's not something that has to be overseen every day. He put man here to have dominion, to oversee things. And of course, man isn't doing a wonderful job of that. But anyone who tells you that God can only be found in a man-made dwelling, I ask you, well, where was God before that dwelling? Before they built the first church, where was God? Before they built the first mosque, where was God? The Spirit of God is in you, the breath of life that he breathed into you. That is the transference of his spirit into you. So anyone who tells you that you have to go somewhere to find God has no idea who God is, what he is, how to find him, and they have no relationship with him. Anyone who says God doesn't exist, that's because they have not been blessed enough for God to see them worthy enough to show himself in their life. See, if God ain't never showed you nothing in your life, well, you know, hey man, that was God right there. That could have been nothing else. That never goes that way, but it went that way with me. If you never had one of those experiences, then you're not one of the few. You're not one of the chosen few that will understand who God is and be able to develop a relationship with him based on that truth and knowledge. Nothing external can be the foundation of your life. If God is the foundation of everything, if you put God first in everything, why are you looking outside of yourself when the first thing you have to establish is yourself? You need a foundation for the being that you're going to be. You need a foundation for the man that you want to develop into. You need a foundation to be the type of husband or the type of brother, the type of father you want to be. Every woman needs a foundation to be the type of wife she wants to be the type of woman she wants to be the type of mother she wants to be. We all have to understand where to find that. And many people know, but they're afraid. They're afraid to not fit in. Let me give y'all a couple of biblical examples. When Moses was up in the mountain talking to God, and the children of Israel cried and said, we have no idea where this man is. We need us a God we can see. And Aaron, the original priest, allowed the people to force him to let them break off their golden earrings, and he made them a golden calf. He made them an idol god. Who is the only man that was not there? Moses. See, there's not going to be a lot of people that understand the truth and live according to the truth. What the majority of people do is not the right thing. The majority of people eat fast food, right? Many people don't, but the majority of people do. The majority of people drink soft drinks, right? The majority of people drink alcohol, right? The majority of people don't get the proper amount of sleep. The majority is never going to do the right thing. If almost everyone is doing it, it is not the thing to do. I have automatically avoided things in my life where everybody's doing it. If everybody's doing it, I just don't do it. I just don't do it. Everybody was wearing Jordans coming up. I didn't. I found another shoe that was comparable. It was always fly, sometimes almost as expensive, if not as expensive. But I didn't want to wear that because everybody was doing it. You know what ended up happening? I ended up realizing that I didn't support a shoe that was made in a sweatshop, possibly by people who were not even old enough to be employed. The benefits of doing your own thing, if everybody else is doing it, it is not an individual thing, and we're all individuals. So if everybody says, I'm going to go here on Sunday because that's where God is, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to be at working on Sunday because I just rested on Saturday. You know, that day that everyone else said, I got things to do. The majority of people don't honor the Sabbath day. The majority of people don't understand that time alone is the time where you bond with God the most. The objective is to be on the path that God has for you, because that is the only place your blessings lie. If you're not going to be on the path God has for you, you're not going to run into the blessings. Blessings don't fall out of the sky. Blessings are on the path that you need to be on. That's why they don't all come at once, because you got to make it to your blessings. You have to strive and grow and build and grind to your blessings. That is what you have to do. That is what I have to do. We all have to do that. That's why so many people are stressed out about life. That's why so many people are wondering why this won't go right, why that won't go right, because you're not on the path that God wants you to be on, because you won't follow the foundation of God as the bottom place for you to start in your life. And I don't mean bottom in a bad way. I mean the foundation of the house that you are building your life to be. God needs to be the foundation of that. And you can't find God because you're not looking where he is. He's sitting right there inside of you, man. The Spirit of God is inside of you saying, follow me. And you're saying, hey, man, where's God? Go over there. Now, not only are you going over there looking for God, you taking God with you. Every time you go somewhere looking for God, you taking God with you to look for God. You know how crazy that sounds? You are taking God with you to look for God. I'm going to go over there and see if God over there. Well, God is in you, so every time you move, he moves. How you going to go find God where he ain't at and take him with you? When he's sitting there telling you, I'm here. You know what the problem is? Most people can't look within themselves because that's where all of their pain lies. That's where all of their frustration with life lies. That's where all of their confusion with who they're supposed to be lies. That's where all of the things that makes them want to drink themselves into a stupor or use some type of substance to get away from their reality, or the thing that makes them want to take out their frustrations on other people, or the thing that makes a man who has gone through a heartache says, okay, I'm just going to be a heartbreaker for the rest of my life, or the things that makes a woman who's gone through a heartache say, you know what, I don't trust nobody, I'm just going to take advantage of everybody. Those are the things that you have to look at when you look inside yourself. And most people don't have the gumption, the intestinal fortitude, the spiritual wherewithal to want to look inside themselves and remedy those things. They don't have what it takes. And so they will rather waste their lives looking for an external thing that has been internal the entire time. And that is the thing I don't want you to do. I don't want you to waste your life looking for something that's already right there with you. Have you ever, and I've done this before, I'm not even lying to you, I ain't gonna hold you, I'm gonna be honest with you. I've done this before. I've been looking for my glasses, going around looking for them, and they were on my face the entire time. And I just happened to walk by a mirror and look up and ask myself, who put those on my face? I've been looking for those. But you have to understand that that is the equivalent of looking for God outside of yourself. It doesn't make sense to do that. Does it make sense? Have you ever been sitting in your car and you got one, you ain't got no pipes on the way, whoa, 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 but you're sitting in your car is quiet. Have you ever tried to start your car and your car was already started? Of course you have. If you've been driving long enough, you have. But look how simple that is. But look how for a short period of time, you felt like you didn't have good sense. Imagine going through your life doing that every time you got in your car. Imagine every time you had your car keys in your hand, you running around looking for them and they right there in your hand. Imagine looking for your wallet when it's in your pocket and your pocket is the only place you don't check. See, the reason I didn't see my glass until I walked by that window because my face is the only place I didn't check. The reason you don't know if your car started or not because you ain't paying attention to the car. You thinking about something else outside of the car other than what's inside of the car. And what's inside of the car is a totally lit up instrument cluster. Everything's on in the car. Your radio probably on in the car. And you trying to turn it on anyway, right? Because you're not paying attention to the internal things. You have to pay attention to the internal things. You owe it to yourself to pay attention to the internal things. You owe it to your life to pay attention to the internal things. You owe it to your children to pay attention to the internal things. You owe it to God to pay attention to the internal things. You cannot continue to believe that you can find what you need externally. This is why you're so disappointed in people in your life. You're so disappointed in people because with you not looking internally to find God, you are expecting things from people that only God can give you. You're expecting loyalty from people. Well, guess what? Only God can give you loyalty. People are loyal to themselves. Why? Because they have to be loyal to themselves because everybody's trying to get ahead. Well, guess what? God don't have that problem, right? So while you're demanding loyalty from people and you're holding people to this standard of giving you loyalty, you are being impossible. And you're being impossible because you are looking in an impossible place to find the thing that is possible if you simply turn around and look within yourself. You got people always, man, you don't know what you're talking about. You're doing this. You can't tell me nothing about God from externally. You got to jump inside my spirit and tell me. I go by what God put in my spirit. It ain't nothing nobody can tell me outside that's going to make me go against that. You can believe what you want to believe, but everybody's always reading all this extra stuff. You hear guys talking about, well, have you read this biblical book? Well, have you read that biblical book? Well, have you read the Apocrypha? Well, have you read the Quran? Well, have you read the Bible? Well, have you read the other version of the Bible? Well, have you read the Hebrew version of the Bible? Well, have you read the Buddhist version of the Bible? Well, have you read the Muslim version? No, I haven't. I did what God told me to do spiritually because I have always been connected with God from the inside, internally, spiritually. I don't have to keep going, trying to find the answer to connect with God because guess what? It's a real simple thing. If I'm alive, God is in me. So I don't have to go over there and go over there and go up there and go around there and go out back to search for everything. If you look inside of you, you will find that your search is over and you can begin to do what? Build the things that you need to be building in your life. And that is the goal that we all have, to build the things that we need to be building in our life. That's what this is about. This is about building the thing that you need to be building in your life. Nothing else matters. That's why you expect unconditional love from people. How can you expect unconditional love from a human? You got to stop expecting the impossible. People can't give you unconditional love because people are conditional beings. We have to be. Certain conditions change how we respond to the world. Certain conditions change how the world responds to us. We can't be unconditional because we are driven by our conditions. We are held back or motivated by our conditions. We are everything that happens to us in our life. Our conditions can affect it immediately. So how can you expect unconditional love from a conditional being who even loves themselves via conditions? It's because you don't know God. If you're expecting loyalty and unconditional love from people, you don't know God, because if you knew God, you'd be like, well, wait a minute. That's something that only God can do. You expect people not to have ulterior motives when they deal with you ever. Yes, there is an ulterior motive. Everyone has an ulterior motive. You have an ulterior motive. You know what your ulterior motive is? Self-protection, self-prioritization, always making sure you're in a situation where you're not going to be taken advantage of. That's what it should be. Are you wrong for it being that? No, you're not wrong. None of us is wrong for that. That's how we should live our lives. We should live our lives in a way where we know we have to protect ourselves. If you don't protect yourself, you're not protecting your future. You're not protecting your children. You're not protecting your grandchildren. You're not protecting your generational wealth. You're not protecting your spirit. You're not protecting anything. Always complaining because people don't appreciate your efforts. Oh, I feel so underappreciated. Oh, nobody appreciates me. Well, so what? People ain't got time to be appreciating you. People got other things going on in their lives. People got struggles out here, man. You don't know what somebody going through, and you worrying about them not appreciating you. Well, maybe they ain't in no mental state to be appreciating you for what you do right now. But I bet you God is. I bet you God rewards your efforts. Problem is, you don't know where he is. You keep looking for him outside of you. You keep looking for him over there around the corner everywhere, man. When all you got to do is take some time and look within you. That's why it's so important that you learn to be able to spend time with yourself. You spend time with yourself, you have to break down the layers of who you are. And if you break down those layers far enough, I promise you, you will get down to the spirit man inside you and you will realize, hey, wait a minute. God, that's where you've been this whole time? I've been looking for you all around here, and this is where you've been this entire time. Man, I tell you the truth. Boy. Man, you better hope you do it before you're 79 years old. So you can have some time to enjoy the life of a man who understands what it means to live a life that's pleasing to God. You understand that blessings and gifts are two different things. When a thing coming from God, there is no sorrow that comes with it. There is no sorrow that comes with it. It's not going to be a good thing and then it's kind of bad because it's bittersweet and all that. No, you're going to know it came from the Most High because it's going to be that thing, boy, that, hey, if you have one, you know what I mean. If you don't, it don't matter anyway. That's why so many people can't stand being alone because they're not attached to the spirit of God in you. If you're not attached to the spirit of God in you, you need people around you all the time. And that's why people put so much pressure on you to, man, you need people around you, man. Everybody needs somebody. Well, you need who God put in your life. See, you think you need everybody. Everybody needs somebody, but everybody don't need everybody. But when you ain't got no relationship with God, you need everybody. You got to go through trial and tribulation. Do you know at a certain point in life, you're not supposed to have to go through trial and tribulation to figure people out? You're supposed to be able to have discernment to know when somebody's not good for your life. You're supposed to be able to have discernment when somebody's sent by the enemy of your success. You're supposed to have discernment at some point, but people go throughout their entire lives without one single inkling of discernment because they have never learned to bond themselves with the true spirit of God that lies within them. They're too busy trying to go to a building or go to a dwelling or go somewhere else and try to find where God is. And then you take God with you. You go to church looking for God and you take God with you. God just want to chill at home with you by yourself. Let you meditate in your scripture, man. Let you meditate, dig within yourself, get you some rest, focus on some things. Look at your plan for life, man. Make sure, give God some praise. But you don't want to do that. You want to go somewhere else because people tell you, well, two or more. Let me tell you something. It's always two or more with me. There's always me and God. It's always two or more. You got to understand that if you need physical engagement, I'm not talking about you can't. Listen, you might enjoy physical engagement all the time. And when I say physical engagement, I'm not talking about anything intimate. I mean, just the physical interaction with people. If you need that daily, then it's because the spiritual sanctity you should have is missing. Because when you have that spiritual sanctity, it is hard to just have people around every day because sometimes you just want to be at peace with the spirit of God that's within you. And you don't want people interrupting that with their selfishness. See, people will pull you away from your focus on the spirit, man, and it's your spiritual relationship with God because they want you to focus on your relationship with them. Let a woman come over to your house, then just try to have her be quiet the whole time she there, and you just focus on your spiritual relationship with God. She ain't gonna let you do it. She won't hardly let you work. Always want to talk, always want to say something, always want to be around you, always want to touch you, always want some attention. And for you to be able to do that, that's why modern marriage in this society doesn't work. I will have a wife, but we're going to have two separate residences. She can't live with me every day because I don't want nobody around me every day. Peace and quiet is the greatest thing for a man who is spiritually astute because that way, all that noise and all that interaction and all those voices and all those people talking keep you attached to the external world. And sometimes you just want to go within your spirit realm and exist in there for periods of time. And people who don't understand that, woe is you. You are living a low quality of life if you don't understand what it is to have a spiritual connection to the Most High. You're living now, he's in you. He's in all of us. But if you don't have a spiritual connection to him where you know that the spirit of God is in you and you are connected to it and you are driven by it and you hear it leading you and you hear it guiding you, then the problem with you is that you are working too hard to get the little bit of things out of life that will come naturally. if you had the peace of mind of being someone who has that type of connection to the Most High. Being emotionally attached to people hinders your ability to maintain a strong spiritual connection to the Most High. Because at some point, that emotional attachment is going to make you say, well, okay, well, I'll deal with my spirit man later. Let me go over here and deal with what they want. Well, I'll do that right there later. Before you know it, you going out doing things on Sabbath day. You've been under the Sabbath day for 10, 20 years, man. And now all of a sudden you in an emotional attachment with someone and they got you up. You going to do something. It could be anybody. It could be your wife. It could be your son. It could be anybody. Man, let me tell you something. If my son played football right now, man, he better hope that every game on a Friday, because on a Saturday, I ain't coming. I ain't never coming. It ain't gonna happen. I ain't never coming. Y'all ain't listen to me. I ain't never coming. Unless it's a late game, it gotta be at the sundown. If it's at the sundown, I'm going. Doing something, I ain't going. You know why? Because I'm not. I never do. I never have. I'm not going. That's the thing about honoring your spirit, man, more than you honor your emotional attachments. Am I saying that's nothing? Because that's not even an important thing. It's not even important. I tell you what, take a child and have that child not be taken care of financially by his dad, not have any interaction with his dad at all, except his dad show up at all the games. Ain't never got no money, ain't never got no time, ain't never got no insight, ain't never got no information, just see him in the stands at the games all the time. And then have that same child and have that child get everything they can from their dad, everything they need, something they ain't even know they need, everything they need to turn into a successful man and navigate this life, but he don't never show up at the games. And ask that child which one he'd rather have. You see what I mean? That's why you can't be attached to this world. You have to be attached to the Most High, because that will allow you to do it my way or no way. That will allow you to stick to the thing that you know is right, regardless of how somebody else feels about it. You see what I'm saying? Feels. You can't allow your feelings or anyone else's feelings to deter you from doing the things that you need to do to keep your spirit man in the position he needs to be in. You understand what I'm saying? Because you need that spirit man to stay connected to the Most High so you can navigate this world, navigate this life. Until you die, you still got to navigate this life. Even if you got an illness right now, you got to navigate that treatment. You got to navigate that recovery. You got to navigate this life as long as you're alive, man. If you in everybody right now who got life in prison, they still got to navigate life in prison. You got to navigate this world no matter what your circumstances are, as long as you're alive. And in order to do that, you have to understand that God is in you and not out in the world. So anyone who tells you God is only in a man-made dwelling, they don't know God. Anyone who tells you that external things can be the foundation of your life, they don't know God. Anyone who tells you that the objective is anything other than to be on the path that God has for you, they don't know God. See, I ain't got no plan B for life. I ain't got no plan B, because there's plan A is what God wants you to be on. You got to find that plan. Once you find that plan, you good. How you gonna have a plan? You're gonna have a plan B and say, well, God, I know you good. I know you run things, but just in case you fail, I'm gonna have plan B. No, that's what you have to understand, because you got to remember that that's where your blessings are. Your blessings are on that path. Yes, if you work hard, you're gonna earn some things, but they're not blessings. It's not a blessing to get what you work for. You know what I'm saying? It's not a blessing to go work 40 hours and get paid for 40 hours. That's not a blessing. That's fair exchange. That's fair exchange. It's not a blessing to go fill your gas tank up and then your car is on full. That's not a blessing. That's an exchange. It's not a blessing to go buy $100 worth of grocery and get $100 worth of grocery. That's not a blessing. That's an exchange. A blessing is that thing that comes on top of the thing that you earned. And to get those, you got to be on the path that God put you on. You can live a great life financially and still be not on the path to get your blessings. Most of your blessings are not going to be financial. You can get finances just by working hard and grinding. Most of your blessings aren't going to be that. The main blessing is peace of mind. You got to remember that this is why you're disappointed in people. You expect things from them that only God can give you. For example, loyalty, unconditional love, and always doing what's right by you. You want people to always do what's right by you. Man, people can't always do what's right by themselves. You ever seen somebody, man, that need to lose weight and they still eating ho-hos and dum-dums? They still eating Snicker bars and ice cream pies? Have you ever seen that? Have you ever seen somebody that's going to sleep behind the wheel of their car, man? They go home, man, to get right back and go to another job. Won't even quit one of the jobs. Gonna keep working them jobs, gonna tab car. You ever seen somebody, man, who already got one DUI and then they go back and they get another DUI? You ever seen that? You ever seen somebody go to prison for 10 years, come out, do the same thing, end up back in prison? You ever seen that? I'm sure if you haven't seen all of those things, you've seen at least one of them. You can't always expect people to do what's right by you. They can't always do what's right by themselves. So you expect people to treat you better than they treat themselves. You expect people to love you more than they love themselves, or love you as much as they love themselves. But it's impossible. And you expect the people to appreciate your efforts. People are not going to appreciate your efforts, man. People don't listen. People appreciate your efforts if it benefits them. People don't appreciate your efforts that don't benefit them. They just don't. That's human nature. You got to remember, if you can't stand being alone, it's probably because you're not attached to the Spirit of God in you. So you need physical engagement daily because the spiritual sanctity you should have is missing. And finally, being emotionally attached to people hinders your ability to stay spiritually grounded and connected to the Most High in the way that you need to in order to stay on the path you need to be on and keep running into the blessings that are on that path. Enjoy the rest of your day, my brothers. Peace, Kings.